What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I thought I'd do a Q&A. It's been a very long time since I've done one, so let's do it. Alright, first question comes in from Monkeyman25787, and he says, what do you think of Turkey as a track, and how would you feel if the track made a return to F1? So, I love Turkey, racing it on the F1 games and also seeing it on TV as well. I think it's a great circuit, really good for overtaking, and I think it will be a welcome return to F1 if it does come back to the calendar next year. So, yeah, I love the track, love the racing there, and it definitely needs to be back on the calendar. Bruno says, aside from F1 2017, what is the racing game you expect the most from in 2017? Forza 7, Gran Turismo Sport, or Project Cars 2, in brackets, lol. I like how you did that. To be honest, I know what to expect with F1 2017, so I'm going to exclude that from the selection. I'm probably expecting the most from Project Cars 2, given that the first one was such a letdown, and there's so much hype about Project Cars 2. With Forza games, you kind of know what you're going to get. They don't really, stem too much far from like their formula that they've had over the last few years. They don't take many risks, so I'm expecting pretty much the same game with maybe one or two extra features here and there. So I'd say Project Cars 2, they're probably going to be the most, daring this year, and hopefully it can be like the game that Project Cars 1 should have been. Justin Walker wants me to do a career mode with the pad. Given that I tried the pad with no assist the other day, you can absolutely forget about that. It's just so hard to drive with the pad. It's ridiculous. Like if I stayed with the pad like I did on 2010 and continued through, then maybe, but going from the wheel back to the pad, it's impossible. Again, Monkey Man with another question. He says, if I was the boss of Mercedes, would I fire Valtteri Bottas? And if so, who would I replace him with? I personally wouldn't replace Bottas. I still think he's got some room to improve. He's made a couple of mistakes here and there, but I still think he's still the man to be there to support Lewis Hamilton in that quest of beating Ferrari. It's good in a way that he's not taking away points from Lewis at the moment, but he's still getting used to the car. It's a brand new team. You'd be surprised at how long it takes to get used to the mechanic. Well, just like the whole system and how it all works at Mercedes and gelling with the new engineers. It's going to take time for him to be up to the pace of Lewis if he ever gets there, but he will be quicker. He's just it's going to take time, I guess. Ben, do I have damage? I saw that question a lot. Yes, I still have damage. GD Servers says, do you plan on being an F1 and racing game YouTuber until the end of your channel, or do you think about expanding your content outside of racing in the future? I still think the core of my channel is going to remain racing game related. I might expand and do other stuff here and there, like vlogging, or like recently how I bought my car, I might do some car videos here and there, but the core of my channel is still going to be F1 related and still going to be racing game related. I don't see that changing. It's got me to where I am now, so I don't see how that would change anytime in the near future. What's my favourite paint scheme in 2017? I really like the Toro Rosso. Looks really good. And also like the Renault, how they've incorporated the black into their car as well. So those two cars are probably the best looking on the grid. I also like the Haas car. It looks kind of aggressive as well. So I'd say Haas a very close third too. Marjo Core. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. He says, when are you allowed to tell us about F1 2016? Thomas says, what are you saying about Formula E? I'm not saying anything because I don't watch it. Splashy 2007, who is your favourite F1 driver? I think it's pretty obvious. I'm Australian. I like Daniel Ricciardo. I support him, even though Red Bull's car is looking a bit iffy this year, despite, they were pretty close in practice 1 and practice 2, especially yesterday. But as I upload this, qualifying will have happened, and Ricciardo will probably be over a second off the pace, so I don't know why I'm getting my hopes up. But yes, Ricciardo is my favourite driver. I really like Alonso too. He's I've had a lot of respect for him over the years. Okay, here's a relevant question. Adidas291 says, what do I think about Alonso skipping the Monaco GP for the Indy 500? A lot of people don't like the fact that Alonso is skipping like his best chance to score points. But in my opinion, Alonso doesn't care about like finishing, you know, well inside the points. He wants to win the race. Like, the McLaren car is so crap this year. There's no point. I think it's a ploy from Honda and McLaren to keep Alonso interested and keep him happy by allowing him to go off and race another series and potentially win the Indy 500. That would be, you know, awesome for F1, awesome for Alonso. It kind of integrates both of the sports together and promotes, gives exposure to both sports, to be honest, because it says, hey, look at how good these Formula 1 drivers are, and in a way it says, hey, look at how good IndyCar is with Alonso stepping in and having a really good race potentially. Hopefully he doesn't crash, or more importantly have an engine failure on the first lap or something like that. That would be absolutely disastrous. But, you know, before this announcement, I never really watched IndyCar, but now as an F1 fan, I really want to see how Alonso does, and that generates interest in that sport as well. So I think it's really good all round. Fully HD says, hey mate, big fan, just wondering what your dream supercar to own is. Well, there's a lot of supercars out there that are just plain amazing, but I always have a soft spot for McLaren and McLaren cars. So I'd probably say like a 570S, something like that, 675 LT. Yeah, one of those cars for sure. Q&A from Jay Plays. What is your favourite F1 track of all time? Now, I think that's pretty obvious. If you look right up there, your answer is right in front of you. Combined YouTuber, he's got a lot of questions, some of which I've already answered before. He says, what would be your ultimate goal on YouTube? I think now that I've hit 100k, now 200k actually, I think the next major milestone would be 1 million. But that's going to be a huge grind, probably a few years worth of making videos and hoping that I get very lucky, maybe some big collabs in the future or something like that. So 1 million, hopefully grind away at that. I might need to branch out and try other racing games or just other games in general and hope to be successful there. But yeah, 1 million is the ultimate goal. Kevin Taylor says, Mr. XMattyG, do you know when you guys will do another collab? Well, now that Matt's doing WTF1, he's not uploading on his personal YouTube channel anymore, so it's ultimately down to the guys at WTF1. We have, personally, myself and Matt, talked about doing a collab. Nothing is materialized as of yet, but it's definitely going to be on the cards at some point. When that is, I don't know, and what we'll be doing, I'm not too sure either, so we'll have to wait and see. Rough Tough, are you excited about the release of F1 2017? Hell yes. And I can't wait to show you more on what's to come, hopefully very soon. On the topic of motorsport opportunities, Maya Abaza says, do I have damage? I think we already covered that one. But no, seriously, with Matt getting an opportunity from his YouTube channel to work in a motorsports kind of company, would I consider doing something similar, or am I planning something rather for my YouTube channel? I don't know. I'm really happy with what I'm doing on YouTube at the moment, to be honest. I'm having a lot of fun just creating my own content and having the choice of doing what I want to do. It's funny that you mentioned that, though. I did get an opportunity very recently to work in a pretty big international motorsport, but that deal didn't materialize, and I was actually kind of not really thinking about doing it. I think I was going to stay and do what I was going to do on YouTube. So who knows, there might be more opportunities in the future, but at the same time, I'm really happy with what I'm doing on YouTube at the moment. It's just so much fun. That's why I do it. David Seminian, he says, how has sim racing affected your real life driving habits? I don't think it's affected my driving habits per se, but in a way that it's affected my driving in real life is it kind of made me more confident before I had my license, because I had those skills of driving with a wheel and pedals and just getting the, I don't know, the mechanics of it like down pat, and just being used to that kind of real life driving, if that makes sense. But it doesn't affect the way that I drive on the streets really, because driving on a game like in a racing environment versus driving on the road, where it's completely different. So yeah, apart from being more confident when I first started driving in a real road car, that's all that I really got out of racing games. The Justilus, any mods coming for your 370Z? Yeah, I talked about that I think in my reveal video. Like I said, exhaust mod and possibly a wrap of some kind. A partial wrap or maybe even a full body wrap. We'll have to wait and see. And this question kind of comes back to the racing game and real life driving as well. He says, this is Douglas Miller, he says, do you think there's any correlation between being good at racing on a console and in real life? So when you take racing games virtually and then take it to a real racetrack online, then I think there's some correlation, because you kind of get a sense of racecraft and you know, driving properly and trying to be consistent, not making mistakes. Yes, on a racetrack there is correlation, but no, you don't get the same fitness, or you don't get used to the G-forces. But yeah, I think if you're really good in racing games, I think there's some skills to be transferred over to real life. We've seen that in GT Academy and so many other applications in real life where gamers are starting to go from the gaming world and now you know, really mix it with some you know, gun drivers in real life, which is really awesome to see. Splashy 2007 again, he says, are you thinking about making more F1 mod stuff? Not for the moment. My PC is kind of out of commission. I'm really only using it to record console gameplay, edit my videos, but in terms of like gaming on it, I think it's past its use by date, to be honest. I just can't record games and play them at the same time. Like you saw with the community race, I was just getting a slideshow in terms of frames. So there's going to be a PC build coming sometime this year, and once that happens, then I can properly make my return to PC. Nicholas Barton, what are your thoughts on the 8x10 wooden potting shed? You'll have to ask the man himself, Mr. Scott Wallace. Sven says, if you will do great in this league, the Australian league that I'm doing at the moment, he says, do I have any plans to go into AOR, or is the connection just awful? I guess a lot of you new subscribers probably won't know this, but I raced in AOR for years. I started in 2010, finished my kind of AOR career in 2013. It's just the fact that I had to get up at 5 AM every week to participate in that. And yes, at the time, the lag on some of the games was pretty bad. I think it might be better now. The sync might be a lot better. But the main thing was getting up at 5 AM every week. I, you know, wasn't really motivated to do that anymore. And I think where I'm at now, I don't have enough time to commit to a really competitive league like AOR. I'd have to spend hours practicing, you know, every week, and I just don't have that time. So I'm doing the Australian League, you know, turning up on Sunday with 20 minutes practice tops and just having a lot of fun and having some good races there. So I don't see that changing anytime soon, because when I was doing AOR back in the day, I wasn't a YouTuber. I wasn't committing myself to making videos every day or every second day. I just can't do that anymore. Stig says, if I was the head developer of F1 2017, what would I introduce or reintroduce into the game, and why? Now, I think career mode has a really good base. It's really locked down well with the F1 game franchise now. What I would focus my attention in would be the online facet of the game. I think that's where the longevity is. There needs to be like leaderboards, there needs to be rankings, there just needs to be maybe even other like new game modes that can keep the casual players entertained, and even like some of the hardcore guys. Like I would love to see some like random party modes like that you see in like the Forza games, like Tag, Infection, all that kind of thing, like Capture the Flag, even though how would that work in a racing game? I don't know. But like elimination races, you know, like you see in the Need for Speed games, after every sector or after every minute, you knock out a car. And that's just a fun party mode. So that would be absolutely awesome to implement those kind of things into the online realm. Give us the leaderboards that we want. And it goes without saying, make the online more stable and just more enjoyable for everyone to race in. That's where I'd focus my attention in, because a game's success is really determined on the online stability and just the playability. Because after a while, career mode just gets a bit repetitive, and online is where it's at. That's what would keep me coming back and playing the game if I was a casual. So yeah, online, definitely. But I think that's going to end this video, guys. Thank you so much for all the questions that you sent in. There was like well over 1,000 comments on my career mode video, so thank you so much for all your questions that you sent in. If you have a question that you really want answered, put it down in the comments of this video and I'll make sure to answer it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video very soon.